Hi everybody, my name is Eileen and I'm part of the Mental Health Recovery Network as well. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a friend. I use the services of a hairdresser, I use the services of a dentist and a doctor, and I also use mental health services. And the reason I say it like that is because I don't want to be defined as a mental health service user, so I'm never going to introduce myself as a mental health service user again. I'm a lot of other things as well. I used to work for Tesco a long time ago. I worked there for nearly 20 years as a manager, and I loved what I did. And then I came back to Northern Ireland, worked in London, I settled down, I got married, and we had 4 children, but my third little boy was stillborn, and that nearly killed me. I didn't recover from that the way other people would recover from these things, and there's a lot of things that led me to that point, but the thing is I couldn't function, and I've been using mental health services and unable to work for the past 9.5 years. So I got worse, but what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to read you a couple of pages of what I wrote in 2011 about myself, and then I'll carry on to just tell you how I'm doing now and how I've got to the point that I've got. But I think this explains it quite well. I felt down on Thursday evening and I cried all night about baby Jane. Now, this was 4 years after the baby was born. Friday night I felt really low. I hoped crying would release some misery, but it didn't. I took the boys to the beach on Friday, then I went to bed as soon as Michael came home. I felt down and out on Saturday as well. Michael didn't go to football and he only worked from 1 to 6. He took the boys to Mount Stewart. I made the dinner and I forced myself to stay up until 9 p.m. I didn't sleep well. I took a tablet at around midnight. On Sunday I still felt really bad. The boys went to W5. Michael and I were supposed to go out with the baby, but instead I went to David Lloyd's. I joined a gym because I thought it might help. I cooked dinner and I was completely despondent. Monday I went to the gym. I cooked dinner, I just want to go to bed. That's all I want to do. I don't have to pretend or try. I'm worn out. I can't take much more of this. And then my next entry was about a week later. I said, it was the next day. I got my wish. Let's see if this helps. Michael has changed his day off. I'm staying in bed. I'll have a magazine and I'll close the door. I don't even want to read or watch TV or have anybody come into the room. It's like I feel if I think enough and have enough undisturbed time in my head, it'll fix me. I only have today, so I feel like I have to cram in just lying here so that I get enough of it. I only left the room to go to the toilet and I read a magazine. I'm hoping to get up tomorrow, renewed, refreshed and full of the joys of spring. What's the chances of that? Well, that actually is how it seems to come and go. It's like a click of the fingers. How can I get free of it, or at least keep it at bay? I've tried so hard with cognitive behavioural therapy and the behavioural activation and the gym, but this just happened anyway. It's been such an effort to do anything. I'm disillusioned and full of despair when I realise that I'm crap yet again. I can't explain the disappointment, the confirmation of how useless I am, and the feeling that everyone's life would be easier if I wasn't in it. It's so lonely and frustrating. People don't understand that when I say I'm really not good at the minute, I really mean it. As far as everyone can see, I look fine, I can talk and function, and I can laugh, but I feel like I'm in a black hole with the black dog. He likes me, does that dog. He lies on me and he has me licked all over. Hopefully I'll feel better tomorrow anyway, and if I do, it'll probably not be because I've stayed in bed today, but because it was time for the black dog to visit someone else. I know that all the effort I've put into my therapy will pay off, and the changes will take time to become habits, but will it keep the black dog from walking all over me? I wouldn't mind if it just nipped at my ankles every now and again. Is this me for life? If it is, there must be some other medication that I can try. Barbara's going to try and meet with Beverly and the locum to discuss the way forward. My God, what has my life become? On the front of my little notebook, it says that how we spend our days is of course how we spend our lives. I bought it because the words cut through me like a knife and also motivated me immensely. Whenever I feel okay to good, these words really help me. I repeat them to myself all the time. When I feel like I do now, they make me feel very sad because I don't want to spend my time wishing I was in bed or been in bed. But when I'm like this, I don't seem to have the energy or drive to do anything about it. It feels like my choices have been taken away until the black dog gets off me. I feel like I don't choose this chooses me, and I'm powerless until it lets go. I could carry on reading that, but I think that sort of gives you an idea of how I was and how very unwell I was at that time. And that was a very significant time in my life because a couple of weeks after that I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And then I felt flawed. I felt like if it was depression and anxiety, maybe it would go. But I didn't think I was ever going to be well again. I felt like I had a flaw and I was grieving for the old me. So it took me a while to accept that. And the reason why that journey was easier for me is because I had a brilliant, just at that time when I wrote that, I was appointed a new psychiatrist who completely embraced no decision about me without me. And she looked after me very well. My community team looked after me very well, and my family looked after me very well. But all of those things, and I had cognitive behavioural therapy. And now, when I look back to anyone who's gone through those things, it does all make sense, but it takes a while for you to process it in your own mind and in your own self. So the first thing I had to do, could I have that water on the table, please? My mouth is drying up here. I had to accept the fact that I had a mental health condition that was probably going to stay with me for the rest of my life. And then I had to educate myself about that condition, to try and make sense of it. And I did that in a number of ways. I had a lot of help with that as well from mental health services. And the things that get me through now as far as education is concerned is my wellness tools and my being aware of what is going wrong, being aware of my triggers and being aware of my early warning signs. And I have to put processes in place to sort them out. And I always say when I talk that recovery, you know the saying, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain. Well, I say that about recovery. I'm not fixed. That was one of the other things I had to realise. I'm not fixed. I went for a second round of cognitive behavioural therapy just for living with bipolar disorder. And the first thing he said to me was, I can't fix you. And I went home and I've written down as well, if you don't fix me, if it can't fix me, what am I doing here? I want to be fixed. I don't want to have this. But I have it, and I'm going to have it. I wouldn't say I love it, because of course I don't, but I'm living very well with what I've got. And that doesn't mean to say that I don't struggle. I struggle all the time. Some days it's very difficult for me, but the bed isn't like a magnet anymore. And the way I recover and the way that I am doing well is because I focus on my strengths. I don't focus on what's wrong with me. I focus on what's right with me. And sometimes I have to get up in the morning and tell myself something positive about myself still. And I think mental health services do an absolutely fantastic job with focusing on people's strengths and focusing on recovery. And I don't think I can say for sure I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the help that I got from mental health services. Okay, people don't get things right all the time, but I know an awful lot of people wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the help that we did get. But what I think we need to do, and one of the reasons we've set up the network, is because we want to focus, all of us who are involved in the network, focus on recovery and we focus on strengths. And we're a huge support to each other. And we've only known each other and we've only been together for, we've met every week to plan this coffee morning, and we've got to know each other. And you know, it's great to just be able to say, actually I feel cramped today, and someone just to go, yeah. You know, you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to do anything other than that. But all of those things were great for me. And a lot of people reminded me that I did have strengths and reminded me that I had skills. Now, I was convinced that I had no skills left. I couldn't even read a book. I couldn't cook dinner some days. I was in bed for days. But you know what? all the skills that I had before I was well, I've got them back. And I've been able to get them back because IMROC and mental health services have allowed me to do that. They've allowed me to stretch myself slowly and get my skills back. And there's some things I would never have stood in front of a microphone before this time last year, and now I seem to be in front of a microphone every week. So that's a huge thing for me. But I have, and daily, I'm realising that my skills are coming back to me, you know, in different ways. So one I would say to everybody is, whatever you did before, I used to grieve, but now that old me is back, plus a whole other side of me as well. And I have learned so much from being a mental health service user for the last 10 years that I wouldn't change about myself. It's been invaluable. But the hope, 5 years ago, I didn't see anybody like us standing up saying, look, you can get better if you really want to. You're never going to be the same as you were before. You might be better in certain ways, but any skills, I'm not saying everyone's going to be able to stand up here and talk in front of a microphone or you have managerial skills again, but if you like to do something before, you'll be able to do that again if you focus on your strengths and you focus on your skills. And what we hope, as Davy said, for the Recovery Network, is that we can reach out to people throughout the South Eastern Trust and we can focus. I don't feel there's mental health services, as I said, do a great job with focusing on recovery, but as ourselves, we need to reach out to each other and we need to feel connected together. So this is just the very start for us, we hope, and we hope if everybody puts their name and their email address on the pieces of paper on the table, we promise, or phone numbers, that we will contact everybody before the end of January with what we're going to do next. Because we will be doing a lot, and we've even been promised the premises. So we've had a very successful morning, so that's all from me. I just wanted to say thank you for coming today. We were very worried at 10:10 this morning because there was nobody here, only about 4 of us, and I'm thinking, oh my God, but we have sent out so many invitations and we've worked so hard. And there's a great big group of us here and we're loving it, so we'd love if you'd all join us for the years ahead. Thanks very much.